Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I'm happy to report the key elements agreed upon and discussed after the Russian and the Ukrainian delegations concluded their second meeting for this year in Istanbul on the 2nd of June 2025. I have here the Russian statements with the key elements, and I have the Ukrainians. So we'll see if they overlap. I have about, the Russians have about 20. Let's start with the Russians. They seem to be more organized. Here, Sputnik. What Russia and Ukraine agreed in second round of Istanbul talks. Fantastic. 44 minutes ago. Updated 2 minutes ago. All right, Russian delegation head Vladimir Medinsky reported the key outcomes of the negotiations with Ukrainian representatives in Istanbul. So the key elements. Russia handed Ukraine a draft memorandum on settlement, which Kiev took for study. That's exactly what I said they will do. Why? It's normal, these guys are adults, not baboons. The Russian settlement memorandum is in two parts and is detailed and well developed. The first part focuses on how to achieve genuine long-term peace. The second part outlines steps for a full ceasefire, allowing for flexibility and multiple ways to reach the goal. Russia will, listen to this one, unilaterally transfer 6,000 bodies of Ukrainian soldiers to Kiev next week, having identified all the deceased. Where in the hell you hold 6,000 bodies? In big refrigerators? God damn it. The parties agreed on the largest prisoner exchange. The total prisoner exchange will be at least 1,000 people, possibly more. Sick and seriously wounded prisoners will be exchanged on an all-for-all basis. Moscow and Kiev will create a commission to exchange seriously wounded fighters without political decisions. Excellent. The sides will exchange fighters under the age of 25. What? Yep. Russia offered Ukraine a concrete ceasefire lasting 2 to 3 days in certain frontline sectors. That's not going to be accepted by the Ukrainians. Moscow and Kiev agreed to ceasefire in specific areas so commanders can retrieve the bodies of their soldiers. That's a good one. Ukrainian military promised to work out the ceasefire proposal for certain areas soon. Kiev turned the issue of, and I'm quoting, child abductions into a, and I'm quoting, show for sentimental Europeans. Exactly. Now, all right. There are no children kidnapped by Moscow. Only children rescued by Russian soldiers. Russia received a list of 339 children from Ukraine who are in difficult situations due to the conflict. Moscow returns children to Kiev if their parents or legal guardians are present. Russia is working on reuniting families separated by the Ukraine conflict. You know why this is like that? So someone cannot use their organs, my friends, or send them to, sex slaves market. The negotiations with Ukraine were conducted in, that's exactly what I said, Russian. The Russian delegation is satisfied with the result. In the video I made earlier today, with the initial statements or opinions, I said, what are they going to talk? Russian and the other guys, Ukrainians, I know they understand one another 90 to 95%, if not more. The Russian delegation is satisfied with the results of the second round of talks with Ukraine, said Vladimir Medinsky, aide to the president of the Russian Federation. That was fast, because the meeting lasted a little bit over an hour. Yes, Medinsky replied to the corresponding questions. Excellent, excellent. Let's see what the Ukrainian Tatar Umerov has to say. Because they don't have Ukrainians, they have only Tatars and Jews over there. It seems like, Zelensky is Jewish, he's the president, the prime minister is Jewish, Zhmihal, the chief of the, the president's office is Jewish, Yermak, the defense minister is Tatar, Where are the fucking Ukrainians? Oh, Zbycha is not talking. The defense minister, not the foreign minister, is the main negotiator. Do you understand that? So you don't send the chief negotiator, the diplomat, or someone who, no, you send a guy, a Tatar, send him over there to represent the Ukrainians. It's like the Israelis will send a Palestinian to represent, or another Palestinian, whatever they have over there, if they have anybody else. Actually, after all, it's a Jewish state. All right. Rustem Umerov, head of the Ukrainian delegation and Minister of Defense, stated following negotiations with Russian side mediated by Turkey in Istanbul that three key points were discussed: a ceasefire, exchange of prisoners, and return of children, and meeting of leaders. Today, I'm quoting, we held another meeting with the Russian delegation. Ukraine came with three clear agenda points defined by Zelensky style, no, by his masters. First, ceasefire. We insist on a full and unconditional halt to killing immediately. Our proposal is for an unconditional ceasefire in the air, at sea, and on land for at least 30 days. Yes, but no weapons should be brought into Ukraine from West. All right? No, that's exactly the point. The position has remained unchanged for 3 months, and we see it as the basis for starting a peaceful resolution. So, without this, no is the basis for this. If you don't have the 30 days unconditional, that is under our terms, condition, which means, listen, why would the Russians agree with, okay, unconditional ceasefire? As the Russians said, we can do that, but that means you stop the war and you have no transfer of anything, stop recruiting and stop getting weapons from the West. And the guy says, no, but that's not unconditional. So no conditions, so they will go back to war. It's baboonish, my friends. All right, the second point, according to him, is release of our people. Who's our? You're Tatar. What the fuck are you talking about? And I'm quoting, we insist on the release of all prisoners and the return of abducted children. On the issue of prisoners of war, we agreed to focus on specific categories rather than numbers. Fantastic. Regarding the children, we handed over a list of several hundred Ukrainian children who were deported to Russia. This is a fundamental priority to us. Excellent. Now what was here? Earlier, Umerov noted that an agreement was reached on exchanging all severely wounded and critically ill prisoners of war, as well as young soldiers aged 18 to 25 on all-for-all basis. Additionally, both sides agreed to exchange 2 bodies of 6,000 fallen soldiers each. The third agenda item, he said, was leaders meeting. What leaders? Zelensky is not recognized by the other guys because he's not a legitimate ruler of Ukraine. The Ukraine delegation proposed holding this meeting sometime between June 20 and 30. The leaders? Do you think Zelensky with Putin? Okay, we have long told Russia this war must end. Well, why did your masters started it? This is the answer. If Russia is serious about this, fuck off. All right, next one. Ukrainska Pravda. Talks in Istanbul concluded Ukraine and Russia agree on all-for-all exchange for categories of POWs. Russia claims to have offered Ukraine partial ceasefire. Let's go and see this one. So this says, here is offering Kiev a temporary ceasefire on certain fronts. That's what they said. Here is what I just read, right? Okay, next one. Russia today, Moscow and Kiev agreed to a largest ever prisoner swap. Russia stopped negotiating. So they're going to say the same thing as they said on the other one. Regarding the memorandum, Medinsky said Russia has provided Ukraine with a draft settlement proposal consisting of 2 details. The same thing, not much more than the other one. The same 6,000 Ukrainian soldiers and Russians. Kiev comments on latest round of negotiations with Moscow. Ukraine Defense Minister Umerov announced that 2 sides agreed to exchange the bodies of fallen soldiers. That's great, man. Little by little. And the last one, Russia today. Russia demands Ukraine stop false child kidnapping claims. All right. So these are the key points. The key points. Now, regarding the kidnapping, they say here and in other places that Russia hates Ukraine and the Russians are okay. Now, if I would have a problem with those guys over there, why would I raise their kids after I boom them? So the kids can find out that I boom their parents? I mean, where's the logic? You just get inside of your country, possible guys are gonna do bad stuff to Russia. Do you think they were identified as Russians? After you tell them, well, we abducted you from Ukraine after we everybody over there, and the kids are going to say, oh, thank you very much, my Russian mom and my Russian dad. And on the contrary, if you're such a beast as these guys portray you to be, indiscriminately bombardment of civilians in Ukraine, why do you bother to even save them? Because those people will grow to hate you. Like the guys right now that you pick as refugees in your baboonish countries, what do you think will happen? They will go into the society and they will have generations after generations, like, I don't know, Victoria Nuland, or let's say the other baboon from, what's his name, from even Soros if you want. But I'm talking about, what's her name? Christian Freeland. Christina Freeland. She's from the area. People who climb on a society, and then they're gonna use your resources in a war against their vendettas for what their grandparents had in the freaking Tsarist Russia or something. I don't know, 300 years ago or something like that. That's what they do. And they're gonna use you and your children to fight their hatred towards those people. Why? Because you accepted them. So let's say I have a problem with the Hungarians. Let's say I'm a Romanian, and I'm saying, oh, you hate the Hungarians all the time, son. Yeah, man. When my kid is going to become, I know, the defense minister of the United States of America, what do you think will happen to Hungary? It's toast. And vice versa. You don't think that's the way the world works? I mean, fuck. Are we in kindergarten now? So that's why. Why would you get those kids? You have nothing but compassion if you get the kids. Maybe you can use them, but are they going to use them as, I don't know, slaves or something? Bring me the evidence. You can't just portray, like they portray that the most evil guy that ever lived. Remember the guy? His name is, you know what I mean? Yeah, man. All right. But somehow he was a baboon, man. But he was very evil. But he was, you have to make up your mind. When they cannot justify he was so evil, but he did this, they have to justify something about, no, it's irrational. We can't make up. I can remember when these baboons in America had their little stock market crash and had a depression. Deutschland über niemals did not have a depression. You know how they portray that? The Nazis' policies? The guy was just lucky. That's why they portray. He was just lucky. Germany did not go to a recession then. Did not go to the, the 1930s garbage. Only we went. They somehow figured things out. Oh, they built the freeways, right? Oh my God, it's just for military. How did they do this? I don't know, man. I don't know. Or many other things. Why do you bother keeping people in camps when you fight a war? How many resources go over there? Coal, food, and people staying over there. And you find out the Russians are coming to find your crimes. You let anybody be alive to tell the story? You got enough? Go to the Sturm, whatever it's called. Sturmgewaffen, whatever it's called. And that's it. Nobody talks anymore. Done. And when the Soviets show up, oh my God, there's nobody to talk about. Oh, well, nothing. I don't know what happened here, my friends. Ich weiß es nicht. Ich weiß es nicht. Mein Freunde. Mein Freund. Anyway, here is my friend with the kids. I mean, tragedy. Go to the main source. That's where you go. You go to the root causes. The root causes are the financial, economic interests located at the moment in the West. That's where they are, using NATO as the military arm to promote and conquer and dominate and enslave our nations. That's what it is. Do you think these guys say, oh, in Romania, let the capital flow in? You know what a capital is? Capital? They bring money in, they bring things to give you jobs. Oh, I'm happy. But you work for whom? For those guys over there. Yeah, you get peanuts over there. Didn't you realize that you work harder and you get less? Supposedly with all these robots, now the AI will make it easier. No, we work the same way, even more than before. In 1950s, before in the United States of America, there was one breadwinner. Remember? The man was going and they would make it with 5 kids. Wife, 5 kids, and the man was going on an assembly line somewhere. He was making enough money to support it. Right now, try that now. And have a house and have a car. See if that works. Why is that? And we have robots, we have AI, we have technology. We work more. You need 2 jobs. Both parents and the kids are raised by strangers. That's what it is. And then you have them. Why would I give my child to a stranger to raise my kid? So I can work for those guys over there. You see how things are? Motherfuckers. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.